Another thing too is like, I was thinking about recently was the transactional mindset. And that's kind of the exact opposite of traveling, because when you purchase something like a plane ticket, you don't really get anything returned that you could keep with you. And sometimes when we're too much on the grind, we're thinking of everything as, oh, I'm gonna invest in this so I get more money later on. And everything in your life starts to become this transaction. Oh, I'm gonna put in 1 hour at the gym so I get 1 gram of muscle in my bicep. But when you stop viewing everything transactional and you start viewing things as experiences and just kind of letting life happen, you know, sometimes you get surprised. Like you might, I mean, who knows what happens when you're traveling. I mean, you might find the place you want to live for the rest of your life, but you can't go into it with that expectation of like, oh, I'm going traveling to Europe because I want to find myself, or I'm going traveling to Vietnam because I want to find a cheap place to live. It's like, when you go in a place with an open mind, you don't delude yourself on the pros and cons. You're just seeing it for what it is. You know, this is what I liked about that place. This is what I could live without. This is what was good, and this is what I'd have to watch out for. And I mean, I think that's kind of a huge thing, is like, when you're like,
I think that when you go into something like without that transactional mindset, you kind of free yourself up to experience more things. Like, I would say a lot of guys travel, and I actually had a conversation with a older gentleman yesterday about this. A lot of guys travel, and they travel strictly maybe to meet women, or they travel strictly because they want to, you know, see if they can find a place to make money or whatever. It's like, sometimes you just need to let things happen. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to experience life and not always expect to get something in return. Like, yesterday I was out here on Muscle Beach, or whatever you call this place, Santa Monica Pier, whatever, where this Calisthenics park is at. And there's a lot of guys out here asking me for like tips on muscle ups, or tips on, oh, how do you do this? How do you do the straddle planche, or whatever it may be? And it's like, you can't have such a transactional mindset to it where it's like, oh, in order for somebody to get any help or knowledge from me, they need to pay me. You know what I mean? Like, any piece of work that I put in, I need to gain something from it. Whenever I go do a set of pull-ups, I can't just do the set of pull-ups because I want to get into a flow state. I'm doing it because I'm thinking I want to build my back up. Or I'm doing something because I feel like I deserve some type of reward. And a lot of times, we end up getting more reward out of things when we come into something with kind of more of a purist mentality. And like, I would say having a purist mentality when it comes down to your craft, having a purist mentality when it comes down to training, having a purist mentality when it comes down to traveling, I would say that also has something to do with your integrity.
To me, those are the big scores. Honestly, the purist mindset is that's the $1 billion mindset. Like, the $1 million is kind of a transactional one, but the $1 billion one, like, I remember, you know, Elon Musk was talking about how both of his businesses almost failed, and he thought they were gonna fail, but he still attempted it anyways. And I think that purist mindset allows you to take on a craft that's not known for being profitable, for, you know, investing so much time and energy into something that's not known as being an easy moneymaker. And what happens is the tide shift in life, and the people that win are the ones that are ahead. It's like, you know, different kind of bubbles pop up, right? And, you know, it might be real estate might be hot at one point, right? We, you know, had this real estate bubble, but the people that were purist and super into it before it became hot are the ones that got the big score. And, you know, same with, you know, fitness or whatever. When you're the person that's investing in something because you just love it, you kind of get ahead of the curve, and then when it naturally bubbles up, you're the one that's positioned to capitalize on that.
And then think about this too, when it comes down to the aspect of being pure in creativity. When you have transactional in your mindset, you're thinking so concrete. How can you actually be creative when you're thinking like so black and white? You know what I mean? I'm gonna do this and you give me this. I'm gonna do this and I want my body to do this and transform. When you have more of a purist mindset, you have the whole color spectrum at your disposal. You have the whole world at your disposal because you're not in a box, and you allow yourself to get creative. I don't go to the park thinking, you know, and I'm not gonna sit here in front to you guys. A lot of my workouts are structured, but I would say I tend to have the most fun and I get the most creative when I don't structure my workouts. Since I've been in LA and since I've been down here in Santa Monica, fucking around on some of these different pieces of equipment, I've just been wanting to experiment, do little combo sets and get a little creative, and I've been having way more fun. And you know, there's a time and a place for structure. There's also a time and a place for transactional, you know, dealings, but there also has to be a space in our lives for creativity, staying in the present and being in a flow state. But anyways.